Welcome to chapter number 3, When Names Found Voices. Rather than anxious tension, the first week brought a peculiar blend of curiosity and social stagecraft. It was the day when everyone was to introduce themselves to the class. The seminar hall buzzed with the excitement of first impressions and unspoken judgments. Professor Flora, the English faculty in charge of orientation, was an elegant, composed woman in her early 40s with a pleasant smile and sharp eyes that missed nothing. She stood at the center of the hall with a notepad in hand, flanked by a circle of first year students, all still unsure of where to look or how much to say. All right, everyone, she began, her tone light yet commanding. We will go one by one, no pressure. Just tell us your name, where you are from, and what you aspire to become. Let's get to know each other. Professor Flora said with more energy. A gentle pass filled the air, then the first voice rose, soft but clear. I'm Sweta, said a slim, spectacled girl seated near the front. She stood up slowly, smoothing the wrinkles in her plain green kurta. I'm from Krishnapuram. My goal is to clear civil service exams and work in the government sector. There was an approving murmur from the crowd. Krishnapuram, of course, most people here were from the well established town. Her voice was polite, her stance humble. Flora nodded with encouragement. Next came Prashant, a lanky boy with restless eyes. He adjusted his wristwatch before speaking. I'm from outskirts of Krishnapuram and I aim to be an IT engineer, maybe work for a startup or go abroad if I'm lucky. His voice was confident and a hint of ambition sparkled in his tone. No one clapped, but heads nodded in silent respect. Then came a bit of a stir. Veena stood up with a dramatic flair, flipping her ponytail like it was part of her introduction. She was seated right next to Vaishnavi and had already gained a reputation as the chatterbox of the class. She wore denim jeans under her long kurta and spoke in fluent, fast paced English. My name is Veena. I'm from Krishnapuram. She began, glancing at the class with mock seriousness. I hope to graduate with flying colors, get a great job, and more importantly, find a super handsome boyfriend during college. The hall burst into laughter. Even Professor could not suppress a smile. Veena bowed dramatically as though she had delivered a TED talk and sat down with whispers and giggles. Matthew was next with an oversized t shirt, off tucked, and hair that refused to stay down. He ambled towards the center. I'm Matthew, he said, clearing his throat, also from Krishnapuram. And unlike Veena, my first ambition is to become the boyfriend of the prettiest girl in the class. The moment hung in the air. Veena clutched her stomach and laughed so hard that even her earrings wobbled. The class roared. Someone shouted, Veena, say yes. And the cows multiplied. Matthew grinned, clearly satisfied with the reaction. Jokes apart, I want to work in business consulting, but yeah, a girlfriend wouldn't hurt. As the next name was called, the energy in the room shifted, laughter still echoed as Vaishnavi rose slowly. She wore a pale blue silver, her postures graceful but weary. Her eyes, though beautiful, looked tired, as though she carried a suitcase of grief no one else could see. She didn't clear her throat, she didn't crack a joke. I am Vaishnavi, she said softly, from Krishnapuram. I'm here to finish my degree. My father wanted me to study, and that's why I'm here. There was a beat of silence. It was not awkward, it was more respectful. Vaishnavi's tone was heavy but calm. Even Veena did not smile this time. And then Professor Flora called the final name on the list, Rahim. The room grew quiet. A fit young man at the back stood up. He wore a faded shirt tucked too neatly into his trousers and carried a small notebook in his left hand as if it were part of him. There was a stillness about him, like a man trying not to shake the ground beneath his own feet. I'm Ragim, he began, looking up only for a second from Malleswaram. At the mention of that village, a few heads turned. A whisper darted between two boys at the side bench. Malleswaram, Colonel's village? One girl frowned slightly, the unconscious conditioning already at play. Rahim didn't seem to be noticed, or maybe he did not to care. I'm the first graduate from my family, he continued. My ambition is to gain knowledge, not just for myself, but I can go back and teach my people, maybe help others from my village to reach here one day. There was a pause, then a round of applause, genuine, respectful applause, but even within that chair, there were muted stares. Some faces clapped, but their eyes did not. Old prejudices don't lie with this speech. Professor Flora clapped too. Her eyes lingered on Rahim, perhaps a little longer than others. She did not say anything, but her nod meant something. As Rahim sat down, Vaishnavi looked at him not with interest, not with a sympathy, but with something in between. Like one sees a window slightly open on a stormy night, he doesn't smile, he didn't react. But that moment, unnoticed by most, marked the beginning of something none of them could yet name. The class had spoken, names were recorded, and opinions were formed, but beneath the laughter and applause, two worlds quietly collided. One from the cloud kissed fields of Malleswaram, and one from the ambitious concrete of Krishnapuram. Vaishnavi starts observing Rahim from a distance, his answers to Professor, the way he listens, and his quiet confidence intrigue her. She's never met someone who doesn't try to impress her. This makes her want to know more. Rahim, meanwhile, is careful. He notices her attention but keeps a distance, afraid to believe it might mean anything. The classroom felt lighter the next day. Names had meaning and faces had context. But every story was beginning. Rahim was, as usual, early to class next day. He preferred the second row, close enough to listen, far enough to stay unnoticed. He opened his notebook, scribbling something in the margins, a habit that he had picked up from school. It was a quote, perhaps, or a thought, one of many little things he collected like pebbles in his mind. Before he could finish, hand dropped down on his shoulder from behind. Hey, bro. Rahim turned, mildly surprised. It was Matthew, the same guy who had made the whole class laugh the previous day with his boyfriend ambition. His eyes sparkled with mischief. His smile was the kind that invited no formality. "I'm Matthew," he said, pulling a chair next to Rahim without asking. "Yesterday's Romeo, remember?" Rahim smiled faintly. "Yeah, I remember. Your intro was memorable." "Memorable?" Matthew chuckled. "Bro, it was legendary. I nearly gave my mother a heart attack when I told her what I said. But you know what? Life is too short to be boring, right?" Rahim nodded a little more at ease. "I liked what you said, though," Matthew continued, his tone suddenly shifting to a bit more thoughtful, "about teaching your people and all. That was real. We need more people like you, serious, purposeful. Thanks, Rahim said quietly. It's just something I have always wanted to do. Cool, man, Matthew said, leaning back. But let me tell you something else. We also need fun because once college is gone, all you will remember is 20% syllabus and 80% memories. Rahim raised his eyebrow. That sounds like your own math. Exactly, Matthew beamed. So listen, serious saint of Malleswaram. How about this weekend? A movie? Rahim blinked. Movie? Yeah, bro. Cinema, popcorn, overacting heroes, slow motion fights. The sacred Indian tradition of bonding. I haven't gone to theater in a long time, said Rahim. That's it then. We are breaking the spell, Matthew declared up, pulling out his phone. Here, save my number. Please text me. I will book 2 tickets and pick you up. We will have a small lunch after. There's a dosa place near the theater, crispy, a hot break, and spicy, like my ex-girlfriend's words. Rahim chuckles. You're quite the talker. I try. Matthew winked. But honestly, college is best enjoyed when you mix a little madness with meaning. My cousin once spent 4 years bunking every class. Now he's a motivational speaker. Rahim laughed. Seriously? Yeah, his TED talk is titled How I Failed Successfully. Watch it sometime or don't. It's mostly unwanted. There was a brief silence, a comfortable one, the kind where two people realized they are going to get along. Let me tell you another story, Matthew said, lowering his voice. Back in school, there was a guy like you, quiet, always first friend, never smiled. One day, our teacher told him to participate in dance. He froze, literal statue. They put a water bottle on his head to test the balance. Did he dance? Rahim asked. He stood there so still. They gave him first prize for being most focused tree in a forest dance. It was epic. Matthew added. Rahim burst into laughter. That's why I'm telling you, Matthew continued. Don't become a tree. Be the breeze. We will aim high, but we also love. Fall, get scolded, laugh, fail, and stand again. Rahim looked at him for a long moment. Maybe it was the way Matthew spoke, or perhaps it was the fact that no one had ever pulled him into laughter so quickly. But something shifted in that instant. The invisible wall Rahim carried with him, the one built by years of being misunderstood, began to crack. Okay, Rahim said slowly, I will come, movies and snacks. Then he winked. Yes, Matthew shouted loud enough that 3 people turned around. Victory. He patted Rahim's back and said, this, my friend, is the beginning of friendship that will shake the college or at least the canteen. Rahim smiled, not faintly this time, a real one. That weekend, 2 boys from 2 different pasts walked into theater, shared jokes over 2 spicy chutney, and made a memory that would last longer than any syllabus they would ever studied. The college had officially begun.